Hey, how are you? So tonight's video, we are going to talk a little bit about why when you really want to connect with your partner, why does he seem to pull away? It's something that a lot of women talk to me about, whether they're single or whether they're coupled. They feel like the more that they try and connect with a partner, the more that they feel like they can't reach him. And there's actually a pretty good reason for this. Might not be one that would be something that you would do, but I just want to explain this to you so that you can really gain some understanding on this and also shift the vibration of your relationship and get more of what you want, which as a love and intimacy coach, that's what I'm here for. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Jay Diamond. I'm a love and intimacy coach. I help women over 35 get their soulmate. Hi, Ellie. And I also help women who are in long-term relationships get the spark back and stop living like roommates with their partner. Hi, ladies. So yeah, how does this work? So one of the things that I teach my one-to-one clients when they're finding that they seem to be putting in all the work and their partner or person that they're dating isn't doing that much is think of it this way. Think of the relationship like a bubble, okay? There's a bubble and there's only a certain amount of oxygen. And if you think about you and your partner in this bubble, if you're leaning forward, and leaning forward is like this kind of chasing energy. So I have clients who now they take my dating masterclass, they're doing things differently. But they said, wow, I was always like trying to get connection, texting them if I hadn't heard from them, asking them where they've been, always asking them how their day was, always like if I haven't heard from them, then I'm texting them first, or I'm suggesting what places that we can go and suggesting that things that we can do. And I'm trying to find out how are you and how was your day and is there a reason that you're being quiet. All of this, let's think energetically, it's you reaching out, isn't it? It's you reaching out, it's you reaching out, it's reaching out, which in other terms is leaning forward, which in other terms you could say chasing. So if you've got this relationship bubble with you and your partner, this, let's say just one person that you're dating or a partner that you've got, if you're leaning forward, saying, where are you? Where have you been? Why have I not heard from you? Like even some girls I know will go under the guise of, I was just thinking about you, or they'll even send like a half nude picture or a nude or in my underwear or some like boob shot to try and get this man's attention. But it's not because they've got a connection with this guy and they're in like a vibration where that kind of energy is happening. It's because they're trying to get his attention. And so it actually comes, a guy go, thank you very much, I'll keep that one. Maybe share that in my WhatsApp group with my lads. But it's not going to make him choose you or make him want to be with you or make him want to take you out because you're the one doing the chasing. So if you're leaning forward, what does your partner have to do? To breathe, to have space. Your partner has to lean back, right? To kind of keep this kind of space between you, and a relationship kind of goes in and out and in and out like this. It doesn't go steady forward just the same all the time. It kind of goes in and out and in and out. So if you're inside of this bubble and you use this analogy, where have you been leaning forward? Where have you been chasing? Where have you been putting all your energy out? And can you see now that the more that you do that, the more that he pulls away because he needs a bit of space, he needs to breathe. And also masculine energy men, they want to be the one that's in pursuit. It's very deep in their like internal nature that they want to be the one who's kind of reaching out, who's trying to get, who's like wants to have a woman that he can earn her and really feel like he's kind of for want of a better word, brought this prize home. So this is not about what's politically correct and what we like and what we don't like. It's just about masculine and feminine energy. So we all have both masculine and feminine energy, but we all pretty much lead with one or the other. So if you are chasing and asking and hunting, you don't want to be the hunter. You want to let him do that. And so what a lot of women are really afraid of doing is just taking that pressure off because they start panicking. Oh, what if he leaves? What if he finds someone else? What if this happens? What if that happens? And they're so terrified that this guy will forget about them, that they just continually are texting, turning up places on social media. Like, you don't want to be that person. The more that you do that, the more you make yourself look desperate. The best thing you can do is when you realize that you've been leaning forward energetically, that you've been chasing, is to pull it back. And what will happen is, women fall in love in the bonding. Women fall in love in the togetherness. And bizarrely, I don't know why the Most High made us this, usually men fall in love in the gap, meaning when they miss you. So that when you're not there and they get to think about you and think about the great energy that you bring and how good that they feel when they're with you, then they feel called to reach out. They're wondering about you. They're thinking, oh, where is she? Oh, is she dating anyone else? Is she with someone else? And that's really important, that you're not always just constantly available, that you have options and you're utilizing those options. And you're not putting all of your energy into that one person, that they know you're always available for them, because unfortunately part of human nature is we tend to take people for granted. So it's within your control to start being a bit more self-focused. So if you know that you've been doing that, just like pull it right back and give your partner that space to start coming towards you. And what you'll find is eventually they will come looking for you. They'll even, like, sometimes in the house, like, you don't have to run to the door every time your partner comes home. It's lovely to do that every now and again, but sometimes it's nice just to let him come and find you in his own time. So I hope that makes sense, because it's really, really important. And how you communicate during this time and when that person reaches out to you is paramount, can really make or break a partnership and a relationship. And if you're in a long-term relationship, I'd best put that on silent, you'll know yourself that there are ebbs and flows of that long-term relationship, where you get really close and then you move apart, and you get really close and then you move apart. And so, again, how you communicate at that time is really important. So I invite you to my masterclass. I've got this amazing masterclass on Saturday called Creating Heart Connection. You can get started for £39. There's literally no excuse. And what you're going to learn in that masterclass is that what is the kind of communication that really opens a partner's heart and creates intimacy, how to get your needs met, how to get your desires met, how to communicate with someone where it's not going to descend into an argument or misunderstandings or bruised egos, that you can really be a woman who's like powerful and sensual and in control, and communicates so beautifully that actually pulls him closer. Like, he wants to be around you. He wants to feel that kind of feminine energy from you that he can't get anywhere else. And so if you go, I'm going to put it in let me see. Nope, that's the wrong one. I'm going to put the link in the comments. If you go to JAY Diamond, because that's my name, jdiamond.podia, which is podia.com. Oh my god, I've lost what I'm doing. jdiamond.podia.com, and you go to Creating Heart Connection in Relationship, then you'll find it there. I'm going to put it in the comments. So please do join us on Saturday, because it's absolutely groundbreaking class. I'm going to give you another tip in a minute, because I feel like I want to share this with you as well. And it's also teaching you what to do, like when your partner pulls away, because relationships, like we say, they're not this kind of straight line. We all know that by now, right? They have seasons. A friend of mine recently just loved that expression. She said, relationships have seasons. There's the summer, the glorious summer, and then it goes into autumn, and then there's a winter kind of hibernation period, and then there's spring again, and then there's summer. But there's this constant cycle. And isn't that beautiful to realize that hey, I can understand these cycles, and I don't have to freak out when we're not like fully connected all the time. If the relationship, I've just got a question. If the relationship isn't in a good place, are you separated? Should you just lean back and let them come forward? Yeah. And yes, definitely don't chase them. But what's critical is when that person reaches out, how you respond and the communication that you use and how you share, because they're going to ask you how you are and how you've been. And we have a tendency to go one way or the other, right? We have a tendency to say, oh, everything's fine, I'm not really that bothered, I've been great, da, 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 da. Or we go the other way and say, oh, it's so hard without you, I really wish that you were here, and, da, da, and then they feel a bit guilty and they start to pull away. Hey, Busherman. So we want to kind of have this middle ground where we're able to express to your partner, you know, hey, this is how I've been feeling, and here's what's been going really well, and also this is how I've been feeling, and able to measure that. So I think you're coming to the masterclass on Saturday, right? So we can definitely talk more in that class, because it's a private environment and we can go really specific into what you need, which is what this masterclass is for. Because I know that some of you, this happens a lot, people start inboxing me, and I don't do Facebook coaching. Otherwise I'd never get off Facebook. But if you come to the masterclass, you can bring your stuff. Like maybe you and your partner need to talk about finances. Maybe you guys need to talk about sex. Maybe you guys need to talk about childcare. Maybe you guys need to talk about who's doing the washing up and who's not doing the washing up, and who's exhausted, and these kind of day-to-day things. Maybe you guys have got a real serious issue, a health issue that needs to be discussed, that one of you is avoiding, and I'm going to share with you best way to kind of broach that, so that you can remain connected, because this is a skill for life and it's so important. And when I taught this on my retreat in Cyprus in June, the girls were having results before they even got home. Like, that's how quickly it was working. And when they got home, the results just intensified. So I invite you to join us. The link's in the comments. If you don't see the link, it's jaydiamond.podia.com. Thank you for asking that, Angie. It's online. The class is online. So I have clients all over the world, you see. I have clients in parts of Europe and in the States and sometimes in Singapore. So I do a lot of stuff online, so it's accessible to anybody. And again, you can just get started for £39, so it's super cheap. The second tip I really wanted to give you regarding the same thing that was like revolutionary. My God, I wish somebody would told me this when I was 19. It probably would have changed my entire life. About the difference between the men and women chemically, emotionally, and why we start to freak out when men start to pull away, and also why does a man start to pull away, especially when we've had an amazing time together, when we have been close. And it's because of this. Again, a woman tends to bond and fall in love in the closeness. And what happens in that closeness, we open and we increase in oxytocin. So he increases oxytocin, we increase in oxytocin. There's some amazing orgasms. We have a wonderful time. There's all this feeling of love, and we're just like, whoa, we're really high on that feeling, and it feels great. Now, generally, women can just ride out on that emotion and just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And it actually follows very similar to male and female sexual cycles. So if you think about a woman's sexual energy, it tends to raise kind of slower and then get to a peak, but it actually lasts long, 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 long. And then actually as it's releasing, it starts to go down slow, 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 right? Whereas a man, it's like, I'm ready now. That was nice. Now I'm done. It's like my partner describes male orgasm as a bungee jump. It's like the most intense. It was like such a wonderful expression, an amazing intense experience, and like, oh, what, and then down. And I was like, wow, that's incredible. And it can be a bit like this emotionally. So after really connecting with a woman that he really likes or that he really loves, in order for him to get back into his masculine space, he needs to rebuild his testosterone. So what happens is the oxytocin starts to outdo the testosterone, and that's when you get these tetchy men who all of a sudden get a bit grumpy, and you're like, what's wrong with you? Because they need to spend some time either on their own, with other men, in doing some kind of sport where they can just forget and empty the head. Or that's why you find so many men watch a lot of sport or different things like that, because it's a way for them to empty. So the masculine generally, and again this relates to a lot to how we are sexually, that the mind sort of craves this place. If you think about after ejaculation, there's a sense of emptiness, right? create this emptiness so that they can be back in touch with their own consciousness, so they can kind of feel more aligned when they're not, their heads aren't full. A woman feels aligned and in fullness when she's full, when she's full of connection, when she's full of love, when she's feeling full of receiving attention. Why God made us so different, I'll never know. But I hope it helps you to understand that there are times when a guy has to go and do his own thing, to go out for a while, to go out with his mates, to go and play football or run, or like just mindlessly watch football cartoons, insert, make music, something that kind of zones him, because it's really important that he gets back his testosterone level. And when that testosterone level starts to raise, he's going to come looking for you again. But if you don't let him do that, there's going to be a problem. So Angie, I'm so glad that you're here. I feel like that second piece was just for you. Okay, so come to the masterclass on Saturday, and because you're going to need to know that when he gets back in touch with you, and very likely he will, how you act between now and then and what you say is going to be paramount to whether you reconnect. And I really love that you're really honouring that you miss him and you're really being in that desire. So how can you be in the desire without the sadness? That's the bit that needs to, the key that needs to turn in order to magnetize someone in, is how can I be in the desire without the sadness and without need? And then you'll find that people start to magnetize to you. So I really hope that you'll come and join us. So whether you're single or you've recently split from someone and you need to know what kind of communication to use, please come. If you are in a long-term marriage, like absolutely, these are skills that we all need to make our relationships last. So I'm gonna go because I really wanted to jump on just super quick tonight. Obviously you can inbox me and pop me a message if you've got any questions about the masterclass. And also I've got an online course coming up in October that's for women, especially women over 35 who don't want to go into 2020 still single. If that sounds like you, then DM me about this this course, because I've got something really special at the moment. And otherwise, I'm going to go. My website's jaydiamond.net. The website's jdiamond.podia, podia.com, because that's where all my digital stuff is. That's it. Ellie said, I need that too, to be in the desire without the need. Yeah, that's the big work. To be able to hold the desire without being in grief. So sometimes that means you have to process your grief and to really feel it, really move through it, allow it, stop resisting it, allow it, and then come back to the desire, which becomes more pure, and in the purity it becomes very powerful. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you girls on Saturday. Make sure you get that course and that online masterclass, and I'm going to see you then. So bye, good night.